We're just ordinary people living ordinary lives until we see someone on TV win a $25,000 prize. Come on down. I'll play any game for 10 seconds of fame. Come on down. I'll make a deal, just let me spin the wheel. Come on down. To win $1 million, all you need is a little luck and thorough knowledge of multiple disparate trivial subjects.
And we're both ready and have not been frantically getting stuff ready for this episode. We are professional. And
why are you acting like it's live? Like if I wasn't ready in time, we could have just started over.
Right. It is live.
Oh.
Why were you frantically trying to open your iPad and stuff if it wasn't live?
Because I just wanted to make sure we were not disappointing anybody.
Okay.
All right. Welcome to an all-new episode of Come On Down, the game show podcast.
Still coming to you from a fake leather couch that is
too
small for two people. Yeah.
It is a little small. Yes. We're very close to each other.
Yeah.
It's very intimate. If you're looking for an intimate podcast
I think
to listen to with your love partner, this is it.
I think if you listen to 2 episodes ago and then you listen to our last episode, you will see a slight shift in the tone.
And if you're watching it on YouTube, you'll see a slight shift in my pants.
Right, yeah. We did decide to not wear pants for the episodes moving forward.
Just to fit the mood better.
Right.
So, I'm John Baker. This is Jonathan Montney.
Hi.
And this is a podcast all about game shows.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got to keep the lights on somehow.
We do.
So we do have some sponsors, and I know you guys hate that. Why can't anything just be about
the content
love
itself
and art anymore?
Yeah.
It all has to be about corporations.
Right.
And lobbyists in DC.
Mm-hmm. Which is where we get most of our sponsors.
Yes, we do get a lot of sponsorship from the gun lobby, the Guns for Children lobby.
Yeah, NAMBLA.
Yeah, that famous lobby.
Mm-hmm.
And today we've got a very special sponsor for you.
We do.
And
I'll just begin the ad right now.
That works.
Recent reports and information disclosed by a whistleblower have revealed a trove of data that unveil the harms of social media, specifically with Facebook and Instagram.
I just want to say,
yeah,
this ended up being like a really good segue, and I had no idea what the first sentence of this ad was going to be when I started talking about DC lobbyists and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's true.
Social media has become woven into the fabric of our society, so the hunger for a new, fresh, and less harmful social media app.
Period. That's the end of that sentence.
Today's
sponsor, Instagram, is the new, cool, and exclusive social media platform.
Facebook was so much better when it was only available to college students, and Instagram is similar. You must be a yam farmer to sign up.
Yes, I am excited to set up my profile.
But you're not a yam farmer.
No, I am not, but it makes me want to be.
After you set up your Instagram profile, you can begin posting pictures right away.
As long as the pictures are of your yams and or yam farm.
That's right. To prevent any harmful posts to your mental health, the only pictures allowed on the site are of yams and or yam farms.
Instagram is about to take over your phone soon, so get out there, grow some sprouts. Keep them warm, let them develop, root the slips.
Loosen some soil, wait for the right temperature, bury the slips into the soil, water generously. Fertilize, stake the plants, watch for diseases, remove yams from the soil, cure the yams, then set up your Insta-Yam profile.
Insta-Yam. Post pics of your yam. This ain't no sham, ma'am. Be a ham. Post a pic of your yam on a ram. Damn, Insta-Yam ain't no scam, fam. Ditch the gram and swam into Insta-Yam.
Wow. That was pretty interesting.
I practiced that.
Did you? In front of the mirror 12 times this morning.
Correct.
Wow, yeah, Insta-Yam.
I feel like that was definitely a yam lobby. They're just like, oh man, how do we need more yam farmers? How do we get them? How do we get people excited?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, let them post pictures of it.
People do love that, especially yam farmers.
I know.
Yeah, I mean, and once they had this great Facebook whistleblower situation, which is a hilarious situation to me. I'd like to
Oh, please
state,
do.
because this quote unquote Facebook whistleblower, like somebody inside Facebook has come forward to reveal their deep dark secrets.
Yep.
And she came out and went to Congress. Because if you just like say you've got deep dark secrets on something that is in the news right now, you can just roll on up to Congress and start talking to them. And she was like, "Hey, listen, I work inside Facebook, and it's bad for our children." Oh my God, she really blew the whistle on that. It's not like a whistleblower
Yeah.
is somebody like if she worked at Facebook and she came forward and she was like, "Hey, I work at Facebook." And what they're doing is they're taking all the poop from all the toilets and put it into children's drinking water supply. Or, hey, I work at Facebook and Facebook is funneling money to ISIS. That's what a whistleblower does. They reveal illegal, harmful activities going on within a company, within a government, etc. Her whistleblowing is, I think Facebook is bad for the kids.
I don't think that's an accurate assessment because the actual content, her whistleblowing, was on the fact that they knew it was bad and sat on this data and had it and continued to do nothing with it. So yes, it was bad, but I think her whistleblowing is that the company at the top knows it is bad and does nothing about it.
Right, but you could literally say the same about like McDonald's knows that their food is bad for you and they don't do it. They still sell you Big Macs. Listen, here's the big secret. McDonald's knows that Big Macs aren't good for you.
McDonald's stopped using real fat in their fries back in the 80s because of a whistleblower that went in and made them change their ways.
Could you blow my whistle, baby? Whistle, baby.
I do want to say something about, I forget what this guy's name is. John and I listened to a podcast about him, but it was this guy who became super rich and then made it his life's work to make everything taste worse by making corporations stop using like fat in their fries. So we never had real delicious, real good McDonald's fries.
Motherfucker.
I know.
Well, here's the thing. I'm not contending that Facebook is good for the kids. Right. I think it's very bad. I think it is very bad for society in general.
Agreed. So check out our Facebook page.
Yes.
And our
follow us on
Instagram.
Facebook and Instagram. I think it's not good. I think it can be good, but I don't know that Facebook has the levers to make it good at this point. It's just society's fault. I don't really blame Facebook for that, or Instagram, or whomever. It is that fact that we are a bad society, and these are the fruits of our labors.
It's not too bad.
We're the worst.
But it is like...
Out of every society in the universe, name one worse than Earth.
The barbarians.
Okay. Like, it's definitely bad. So that's why I don't think she's saying anything interesting or valuable to me. Also, she's just trying to get a book deal. I'm going to be straight up with you. She's just on a press tour. She's got PR agents working for her and all this stuff. Like, she realized that the way that the stupid media can be exploited is you just come out and publicly say something that they're already saying that they agree with. Like, Facebook bad, Facebook caused January 6th, things like that.
Yeah.
And then you just go and say those things, and Don Lemon goes, "Oh wow, that is incredibly interesting. That is, oh whoa, so yeah, you're right. Donald Trump is responsible for Facebook," and things like that, and it's ridiculous. And yeah,
You want to step off your Apple box?
Listen, we got this. Sorry, this is a Yam box.
I wish
Actually,
Apple still came in boxes.
they do, right? Apple. I mean,
When's the last time you saw an apple box?
I don't know, like the last time I was shooting something on a set.
The last time
somebody
you
needed to look taller.
Going through and getting your bushel and
Get
packs
my
out.
bushels, my packs. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. That's
What's your best segue into figure it out from your whistleblower rant?
Well, it's just something that when I watch the congressional hearings the last couple weeks, and the congressman had to only ask her yes or no questions about, and they didn't know who she was.
Okay. So they had to figure
it out.
Speaking of,
wow, what a flawless! I didn't even know what show we were doing today. I can't believe
crazy.
that segued so well. So today we're talking about a game show that was called Figure It Out. And the reason I suggested this game show is because about a month or so ago, I don't know.
This is because you long for the days of your childhood and you wish to go back, yet you can't, and it drives you crazy, knowing that the only way you can ever capture parts of your childhood is watching god-awful shows from it.
No.
Oh.
So a month or 6 weeks ago or something like that,
Okay.
we did an episode on What's My Line? And my wife listened to this episode, and she said, that kind of sounded like Figure It Out. I'm surprised you didn't mention that. And so I hit her for questioning.
Hit her up with questions.
Right.
Okay.
And I thought, oh yeah, it does kind of seem like Figure It Out. And so
Is this your subtle way of saying that you're replacing me on the podcast?
Yeah, she is much better at observing game show connections.
Do you guys still want to film it at my house?
Could we? I mean, this couch is the intimate setting.
It's the staple of our podcast now.
So Figure It Out was a children's game show on Nickelodeon. This is probably like the 4th or 5th children's game show that we've done. And I think all of them were on Nickelodeon. Nickelodeon had a monopoly on children's game shows.
Just on children in general. If you wanted to have a child, you had to go to Nickelodeon and ask them if it was
permission.
okay.
And then they gave you some slime and
and you had to insert it into your... Slime is just crew members' jizz in a bucket.
Hey man, I've been slimed before, and listen, based on my experience, it's a possibility.
Wow.
I don't want to blow the whistle on them quite yet.
Because we don't have any data.
Right, just like the Facebook whistleblower. But I'm more responsible than her, so.
Wow.
Anyway, Figure It Out.
What would be the title of your book if you were the slime whistleblower?
If I was the slime whistleblower?
Yeah.
It would
Come on down, don't come on me.
I was going to say something like Slime Time, the inside story of how one man slimed his way to the top or something like that.
Okay. And it's about a guy who's responsible for like 800 kids because his slime kept...
Yeah, have you seen that 3 Identical Strangers documentary?
Yeah.
It's like that. But they're all...
Kids separated it.
They all look like Tommy Pickles. It's a Rugrats reference.
It is.
So July 7th, 1997 was a monumental day for our country. We were probably shooting some cruise missiles at Yemen or something like that. And
Yemen.
And it was the debut of Figure It Out on the Nickelodeon channel. So there were 4 seasons of the original Figure It Out.
Okay.
And it was hosted by Summer Sanders. I definitely remember Summer Sanders quite well from
Did you have a crush on her when you were a kid?
Not really.
She looks like a mom.
Yeah. So in that sense, yeah.
She looks like a teacher you'd think was hot in 5th grade because all the other teachers are frumpy ass bitches.
She was in like her mid 20s at the time of this show, I think.
Was she? She looked older.
I know, right?
Yeah.
We don't mean that in a negative way.
No, she just
in
didn't
a
look...
mature.
Yeah.
People got more mature earlier back then. Way back in the 90s.
Did they?
I don't know. I mean, I think to some extent, yeah. Because like how we were talking about...
social media didn't stunt their mental progress.
In some ways. Well, remember how we were talking about Rob Lowe and how
Yeah.
in 1988 at the Democratic National Convention, when he had a three-way with a 24-year-old and a 16-year-old woman, and
A woman and a girl.
the age of consent in Georgia was 14 at the time.
Right.
And you think like, wow, that is insane. But also there's like, this was the 80s, and think about how slow like laws go and stuff like that. And it was not like that long before then that it was like, all right, you graduated middle school, you got to start supporting the family now. You got to get a job. Like that was like
in the 1800s?
no, not the 18. Like my grandma never went to high school.
Were women allowed to go to high school when she was going to...
Maybe not. And like that was in like the late 40s, 50s. Like
Okay. So she just started working?
Yeah, just like start working when you're 14 or whatever. Like that's you're an adult now. So it's like not that crazy. And we have like, I feel over the years we begin to infantilize our youth more and more. Like we keep moving, like the drinking age kept shifting back until it was 21. Now the smoking age is 21. And like, yeah, you can go die in Iraq before then if you want, but you can't drink a beer.
But what's the drinking age in Iraq?
12.
Is it just man?
Yeah.
You just have to be a man.
The drinking age. It's 3 days if you are a male. So I don't know why I got on that tangent. Because Summer Sanders looked older in the 90s.
Right.
Because she had more responsibilities. I mean, in the sense that when she was 20, she was an Olympic gold medalist.
Oh.
She was a swimmer. And at the 1992 Barcelona Olympics.
Thank you for saying it in the correct
No problem.
pronunciation.
She won 4 medals, 2 golds, a silver, and a bronze.
That's so impressive.
She won an individual gold in the 200-meter butterfly, I believe, set an Olympic record there in Barcelona.
Is it still a record?
No, those things never last for very long.
Yeah, because people get stronger and they mature faster.
And they figure out how to use steroids better and things like that. And then there was that one Olympics where they had the weird suits and everybody was breaking all the world records by like 15 seconds when the previous record was like 25 seconds.
Yeah, and so they banned the suits.
They banned the suits. So that was what she was most famous for, maybe beforehand. She got into like the sports media pretty quickly after that, kind of like commentating on swimming stuff and other Olympic stuff. She co-hosted with Ahmad Rashad inside the NBA for a while. And then she got her big break as the host of Figure It Out on Nickelodeon. And you are currently Googling Susan Sarandon. And
That is,
I'm
and that is
confused.
not who we're talking about.
Summer Sanders?
Yeah.
Who's that?
I was wanting to see if Susan Sarandon ever competed in the Olympics and if she had any gold medals.
Only a bronze.
Only a bronze. And her hair.
So, Summer Sanders, like I said, got her big break hosting Figure It Out. What's Figure It Out? It's similar to What's My Line, as we've kind of already established.
Yeah.
Or I've Got a Secret. And it has got a star-studded celebrity panel
Yes.
of 4 people.
And none of them spiraled out or had any bad decisions made in their grown-up years.
That's good. And usually 3 or 4 of them were from Nickelodeon shows.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of synergy going on there,
Yeah.
as they say in the biz.
Is that the first time you've ever used the word synergy?
Probably.
You don't say it at work a lot?
No, because it's one of those buzzwords that I hate, because people just say it. And
I don't know how much you hate it. You just used it.
what happens is there are old people in business that are like in charge of business. That's kind of the way it goes usually.
This is like listening to an 11-year-old tell me how corporate America
There
works.
are old people in charge of business. And then there are young people that work for business. Okay?
Okay.
And then what happens a lot of the time,
Yeah.
to be a successful young person in business,
In business.
what you do is you find these little words or terms or phrases and you just say them in front of old people who run business. And then they go, oh, wow, that sounds interesting because I don't know what that means. And our business sells to young people. And this young person has these words that seem big and cool and interesting. So they're going to run business one day. And that is the way that people get successful, is by this bullshit, basically. Like, at my last job, there was a guy who, and he wasn't like super young, I don't know, he was like maybe mid-40s or something like that. But he was, I'm sure, well compensated and very well regarded within the company for his like marketing insights and consumer behavioral insights. And he would give these presentations and people would shit their pants over, wow, that was so insightful. And it didn't take very long at all for me to realize that what this guy does is he like goes to the Kindle store or the Barnes and Noble and he finds like a book called like Consumer Insights, and then he reads the whole book, and then he makes a PowerPoint of the shit that he just learned in that book, and then he tells it to the people at business. And they go, oh my God, that is so insightful. He's just a guy who read a bunch of books about marketing and then summarized them in PowerPoints and gets paid hundreds of thousands of dollars for that. That is how dumb business is.
Isn't that how anything works? People read to gain understanding and then they share that understanding?
To some extent, yes. But I think if you are actually...
You're saying he's doing book reports, not...
Yes, exactly. He's not providing his own insight into things. He's not making his own discoveries or anything like that. He is just,
He's reading Tom Sawyer and he's saying...
Yes, exactly. He is giving book reports and getting paid handsomely for it because other people don't want to read the books.
Yeah. Well, I mean, good for him, you know? He's doing the work at least.
That's what business is like.
That's what business is to you. People giving book reports and getting praised for
successful for it and not having a single original idea in their life.
Okay. Wow.
That's what business is.
Okay.
So this show's kind of like, what's my line? Again, I don't know how I got there.
It's a fun little trip
Welcome
we get to
to
take
Rant
every now and then.
Tuesday.
Yeah, you do have strong rants today.
I've got opinions, all right? I've had a rough week.
Sorry about that.
No, I've had a perfectly fine week.
You won. You had a wonderful day yesterday.
That's true. We're recording this on Sunday, just to be clear.
Yeah.
I got a little sunburned, though, on my face.
Oh.
A little bit. Not bad.
Okay.
I was worried because... So it was the OU versus Oklahoma versus Texas football game.
Red River Shootout / rivalry.
Which is in the middle of the Texas State Fair in the Cotton Bowl Stadium. And it's an 11 a.m. game, and it was sunny with a high of 92 in the middle of October, which was unfortunate. And so I grabbed a bottle of sunscreen, put it in my car, so that when we got to park, I would put on my sunscreen. So it was, as freshly applied as it could be before going into this game that ended up lasting 4 fucking hours.
Yeah. And is important to you as well because you have dealt with skin cancer before.
I have had a couple of skin cancer flares in the past, so I've got to stay safe. And then I opened up my center console, I pulled out my sunscreen, and my wife said, "That's the dog sunscreen." So
how does that even work? Your dog has fur or hair, right?
Yes, but he loves to swim. And when he swims, like his little snout hair, because he's a long-haired dog,
okay,
his little snout hair gets really, like pressed down and sometimes separated instead of all like, balled up like fur does.
Yeah.
And so when it's all wet, he sometimes gets sunburns on his snout. So if we know he's going to be outside for 5 hours swimming in the pool, we will, put some sunscreen on his snout.
And how did dogs deal with sun in the thousands and
I don't know.
They
weren't bred to look the way that we wanted. So that was probably they evolved to not have to worry about that.
Your
And
golden
we were like,
doodle is
and we were
basically
like,
like a
fuck that.
Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, that's fair. And then so
I didn't have human sunscreen to put on.
but you couldn't use it. It's harmful to.
I don't know. It's
I would have
weird.
still put it on.
Yeah, but like, what if you had like brought a snack? You're like, I'm gonna be hungry. I'll bring a snack, and then you realize it was puppy chow, like, and not the human kind. Like,
So my
actual
options are
dog
starve
food.
to death or eat puppy chow. I'm eating puppy chow.
I don't know that my options were die or wear the sunscreen.
We'll find out if you get cancer.
But anyway, we got lucky, and after the first quarter, we were in the shade for the rest of the game.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, that's my harrowing tale
Okay.
of this weekend. And it was a very, very... The first quarter was also... We were losing by 21 points.
Yeah.
And then we came back and won in all the other quarters.
Yeah. So you know what? In the end, you figured it out.
It all comes back, bringing it back to game shows. So, as we mentioned, there's a 4-celebrity, and I use that term loosely, panel. For a kid, like, it was...
At the time, very
like...
powerful panel.
Danny Tamborelli was a mainstay on the panel. Little Pete from Pete and Pete, probably most notably, also on All That for a while.
Yeah.
Lori Beth Denberg, also a mainstay on the panel.
Also
on
looked
All
like
That.
a 40-year-old woman.
She was like 14 going on 63.
I am 14 going on 63. Somebody help me up these stairs.
Yeah, she did look quite mature. And they were kind of the two mainstays of the show, I would guess.
Amanda Bynes wasn't a mainstay?
Amanda Bynes was on it quite a bit. There were other people that were on it like a lot.
Okay.
But again, it was mostly like Nickelodeon people, and usually like the first seat on the far left was reserved for an adult. Like,
yeah,
the other three people were teenagers, and the one on the left had to, keep things held together for the rest of us.
And then there was a very heavily padded seat for Lori Beth on the other side because of her hips.
Oh, she had hip issues.
Yeah, she had hip issues.
That makes sense. So each show had a child contestant, and by child I definitely mean usually younger than the teenage panelists.
Yeah.
And this contestant had some sort of secret that was usually a unique skill or talent or like little kid job type of thing.
Won a cookie stacking contest.
Right. So that would be like a talent or a skill or a little factoid. So it was kind of, like I said, a cross between I've Got a Secret and What's My Line in terms of what the contestant is bringing to the table.
Yeah. And it wasn't personality, so.
Whoa. These were real kids that were really not media trained.
Real kids should never be on television.
Wow, that is a hot game show opinion.
Ever.
Okay. In any form or fashion.
Unless, like, there's some sort of a physical challenge and it's saving kids that are drowning.
What if, like, they have autism and they can hit 3-pointers really well?
Should they be on a game show?
Just on TV.
I mean, fine.
It's a beautiful story.
It's fine.
It is.
It's fine. You barely have autism, and you got into a game
Barely.
where your team
It's
was
a
up
spectrum,
by team was up by
bro.
70. So you went in, and nobody guarded you until after the first 4.
Oh, I'm sorry. Could you go in and hit 4 3-pointers in a row?
Give me autism, and probably.
Wow, that's like his Rain Man ability. He's Make It Rain Man.
Oh, man. I mean, here, look, we'll find out in a little bit because I got the Pfizer vaccine, and that probably gives you autism down the road. So I'll start working on my jump shot now.
And this has now been flagged by Google
as
and
a 50-year-old,
YouTube
as a
and
50-year-old autistic man, I'm gonna walk into a high
We're
school
canceled.
basketball game and go, "Feed me the rock."
All right. So there was a contestant, and unlike What's My Line or I've Got a Secret, they put a board with blanks representing the number of words in the contestant's unique skill, talent, fact, etc. So you had that up there, and they would always fill in like articles and things like that. So if there was a the or an and or an of or articles and prepositions.
Articles that you don't like using on this episode for some reason, as in business. Or excess use of articles like the Barnes & Noble.
Did I say that?
Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta...
Hey.
For emphasis.
Drop the. It's sexier.
We don't talk about Facebook unless we're blowing whistles. All right.
Okay. All right. Sorry.
Let me know. Now we're copyright striked in addition to COVID canceled. So the answer or the blanks are up on a big board that is shaped like a head.
A profile head.
And it has a name.
Mm-hmm.
Billy the Answer Head.
Sure.
Why?
Also named by some of the dumb kids that come onto the show.
Billy the Answer Head was the name of the sideways head that, just to be clear, at no point had like an animated version that came to life. At no point...
His eyes Googled.
Okay. At no point talked like Olmec from Legends of the Hidden Temple or anything like that. Just was a static little face profile shaped thing that had blanks on it, like Family Feud style blanks that you filled in anytime one of the panelists said a word that was up there as they were questioning the children. Quick tangent.
Okay.
Since we're talking about children's game shows, since I just mentioned Olmec, Legends of the Hidden Temple adult version premiering this week on the CW.
But where is Smallville gonna be played?
They're moving Smallville to Nickelodeon.
Okay.
It was this trade. They were, I think,
it was like a sports trade.
Yeah, so I think Nickelodeon got Smallville and a future second round pick.
Mm-hmm.
And the CW got Legends of the Hidden Temple adult edition and a player to be named later.
Okay. Cool.
So Legends of the Hidden, I'm definitely going to be checking this out, and we are definitely going to be providing some sort of commentary on this on a future episode.
We should do a live podcast. We
Where
both
we
watch it
and
for
comment?
the first time and we comment on it. I don't know how that would work though.
Yeah. Well, if we did it on...
Can we do split screen?
Like a YouTube commentary thing? You know how they do that?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if it'll get like banned or something for just straight
Probably
up putting what's up there.
Here's what it is. Here's what it is. Nobody cares at this point.
Okay.
So I think we should provide the best type of material we can and content, regardless of if it is illegal or not.
We'll see what we can do, and we're not making any promises.
At all.
Maybe. So...
And we'll have a kid on the show.
Why? It's an adult show. It's adult Legends of the Hidden Temple.
I mean, the kid will be media trained.
Okay, perfect. So, like we mentioned, the panelists are asking yes or no questions to these child contestants. And if you get a yes, you continue asking. If you get a no, it moves on to the next person. There are 3 rounds of questions. Each 60 seconds long. So in the first round, you've got 60 seconds. They're going down the line of panelists asking questions. The kids are answering yes or no. And in each of these 3 rounds, about halfway through, there is a clue. And that clue might frequently be in the form of the Charade Brigade.
Ooh, I like that name.
And the Charade Brigade were a group of people that would come and act out some element, usually just like one word in the answer.
Yeah.
So they're not acting out what the answer is, like the entire fact or skill or talent or anything like that. They're just acting out a word that is up there on the board.
Yeah. In janitor outfits.
Yes. They just had to make sure that they were all uniform looking.
Yeah.
And that was kind of how all of the clues went. It was always like a clue towards a word in there. And there's, like I said, one halfway through about each round. And sometimes that would help the panelists throw a word up on the board. Sometimes it wouldn't help them at all.
Yeah, it would actually hinder their
It would just waste
guessing.
a bunch of time. So after each round that the panelists have not successfully guessed the answer, the contestant gets a prize.
Well, prize is a loose word.
And so we talked about synergy before. And another way to do synergy, and to also spend $0
Correct.
on your show,
It's a great business decision for
is
business.
to say your prize for finishing round 1 is a prop or piece of a set from a show that we've previously canceled and don't
Correct.
do anymore. So we have a bunch of these props and sets
Yes.
lying around that we will now break apart and give you a helmet from Legends of the Hidden Temple, a piece of this thing from Guts,
Yeah.
or whatever. Round 1 and 2 for like at least the first season or 2 of this show was just set pieces from previously canceled Nickelodeon shows.
And honestly, that's the most brilliant business decision I've ever seen, because those kids loved it.
Absolutely. I would have been pumped.
And the producers were like, "How much did we spend on the round 1 prizes?" And the producer was like, $8. We had
sent
to
an
pay
intern.
a gopher. Yeah. All we had to do was pay for his ramen noodle lunches, and
yeah.
we kept it nice and slim. We kept the budget tight.
Wow, nice.
Budget's also a business from business.
It's business. So the third round, the grand prize, if you went the entire game without the panelists figuring it out.
Because Amanda Bynes was
Or figure
asking
it outing.
stupid, silly questions instead of actually trying to figure it out.
That was very common, and Danny Tamborelli was big on that as well.
God.
I know you like serious game shows where people are trying their best.
Yes.
There was a lot of
It's
just
not called
goof it out.
Goof Show. It's called
Goof
Game Show. I wish we would change it to Business Show.
Should we change this podcast to business show and just talk about business every
Come
day?
on down for some business.
So at the end of the third round, if they haven't guessed it yet, the celebrity panelists each get one final guess
Ooh.
using what is on the board to this point, if anything.
All the Charade Brigade clues.
All the clues they've had up to this point, all the no's. And at the end of each round, we would kind of get a recap of what we learned that round that they would throw up there. So they would say, like, doesn't have anything to do with trees, is done with hands, whatever, things like that.
Chopping.
Some of the main... Holy shit. How'd you get that?
Was that the kid? The kids. Hi, I'm Danny, and chopping.
Yes.
And then he makes 7 3-pointers.
I love him. I will cry.
I know you will.
So...
Where's he now? Have you done any research on him? Is he just alone on a court in the middle of Cincinnati, just braining threes?
I don't want to know anything other than that one video I saw 15 years ago about this kid draining threes.
All right.
So at the
Rain
end,
Man.
each of the...
What was the name again?
Make It Rain Man. Each of the 4 panelists gets one final guess to see if they can suss this sucker out. And every once in a while, they did.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Especially like Lori Beth Denberg. See, she's the opposite end of your Amanda Bynes problem. She took it seriously.
Well, I feel like most of her questions were like, "Where am I? Do you know where my? Do you know
Because she
what my
was-
medication is?"
Okay, yeah, she was old. Got it. And if they didn't, then they got the grand prize, and that was actually usually something useful.
Are you sure? Because every single one I watched, it was a trip to space camp.
Well, I saw a trip to kids camp in Jamaica.
What the fuck is kids camp in Jamaica?
I don't know,
Is it
but I
like
wanna
sandals,
go.
but for kids?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm tired of. Hey, are you tired of having adults around so you can't do any hanky panky crazy kid stuff? Come on down to kids camp at Jamaica.
Sandals does have a family version. Beaches.
Right, and you're not doing sandals correctly if you go to Sandals Family.
Well, I went when I was a family member.
And what, you just everybody just orgies with their family?
Yeah, basically.
Gross.
It was I don't know. It was, I know how old I was because it was 2001. It was right after 9/11.
And your family said, let's travel.
Uh-huh. Well, because it was like we were planning to go there, and then 9/11 happened, and they grounded all the flights for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And we were supposed to go in like 4 weeks. And we were like, I really hope they get these planes going again. Because I don't think the terrorists are after Turks and Caicos next. I think we're safe there.
I mean, you never know.
And so I was 15, I guess. 14, going on 15. Kind of like Lori Beth.
Yeah.
And I remember it was like a super nice beach resort, and they had like an arcade with just full of Dreamcasts with a bunch of Dreamcast games.
Okay.
And so that was super cool to me.
Yeah, Dreamcast was
And
a
like
great
water
system.
slides and things like that. Anyway, so you could go there.
And you were 15.
Potentially.
Other 15-year-old boys are like making out with chicks and like trying drugs.
I was not 15. I was still 14. I was a couple months
14.
away.
And so
from
you were
15.
excited for the Dreamcast room.
Oh yeah, way better than making out with chicks, and I stand by that to this day. So, in addition, there were other people that could win throughout this game, other than just the contestant.
What?
Because in rounds 2 and 3, this game show brought in some slime.
Stop it.
Some slime. We talked about slime a little bit earlier in some naughty ways. Now we're talking about some real slime. And this was because in rounds 2 and 3, there was a secret slime word.
Ooh.
And before the rounds, the announcer would come on and say, like, the secret slime word is it.
That's not fair.
It was never fair. And sometimes it was like a secret slime action instead of a secret slime word.
Ooh.
And if somebody says it in this scenario, boom, they get slimed. An alarm goes off. They get slimed. The clock stops to make things
Good,
fair.
that's fair.
The clock stops. We see the slime. We then get a replay of the slime.
Is it in slow motion or regular motion?
Both.
Oh my God.
So the slime was important here. I think a big reason to watch this show was to watch people get slime.
I mean, kids in the crowd went gaga
People
crazy.
loved the slime. And like it was always, or at least almost always, rigged, because it would be something like says the word it, or like was on the show Pete and Pete,
Right.
or something like that.
Or like helps Lori Beth up after she's fallen from her chair.
You're really on this old Lori Beth thing.
It blew my mind. I was like, there's no way this is a child.
Yeah. So there was, in rounds 2 and 3, there was a slime word or action, and so we would get a clock stoppage when the slime happened. We would then go back to the game after a few minutes of slime shenanigans.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to see if Lori Beth is a true life Benjamin Button.
Real
and
life
she looks
Benjamin
like a
Button.
child now.
She kind of looks the same now.
She looks
by
the
way.
exact same.
Really not much difference in Lori Beth Denberg of 1997 and Lori Beth Denberg in 2027. Maybe packed on a couple. So, and if the slime word or action takes place, somebody in the crowd wins a prize.
Stop it.
They're just handing out prizes left and right, baby.
Is it like used toilet paper from the set of Guts?
Yeah, exactly. So at the end, in addition to seeing whether the kid wins or loses,
Yeah.
they then demonstrate their skill, talent, ability,
Okay.
whatever.
Because they got to prove it. You can't just come onto the show and lie.
Exactly. They've got to prove it. And so then we get a fun little demonstration.
Mm.
I saw like a confused look on your face while you were looking at Lori Beth Denberg's IMDb. Is that because she was credited for being in all that in 2018?
No, until 2020.
Oh, 2020. So I know. So all that had a recent reboot. I watched the first episode of it.
Got it. Is she she's like actually an actress on it?
So she did like, do you remember she would do like the
Thing in a bathtub?
practical advice
Oh, no,
with
that was
Lori
Keenan.
Beth Denberg or something like that?
Okay, yeah, I vaguely.
And so she did that on the first episode of it and then like handed off the reins to a new kid that was doing it. They had a couple like old All That cast members on it. And I think she's maybe like appeared a few more times. Like she might be a producer or somehow on staff of the show or something like that.
Got it.
And I don't know if it's still, and maybe it was canceled after 2020. I don't know. So we would get this demonstration from the kid. It was usually just super interesting and entertaining.
It was so awkward.
So I watched an episode that I actually remember watching when it was on. And so the first kid on this show. And so what I like about this show is what they do is they say, if you want to play along at home, cover your eyes and ears while we reveal the answer. And so I didn't do that. I don't care about playing along at home.
Well, here's my thing. How do those kids know when to take their hands off their eyes and ears?
You're just there forever.
Yeah.
It's a good question. So this episode, they introduced this first contestant, and his secret is that he, and I want to say this in direct quotes here, demonstrates alligator camouflage behavior. Those are 4 words. I recognize that. I said, yes, those are definitely 4 words.
Yeah.
But when you put them in the order, demonstrates alligator camouflage behavior, I have no idea what that means. So how could anybody ever guess it? To me, that was like if you came on and it was like, what's your secret? Lollipop, Jello, flangy airplane.
Flangy?
Yeah.
Okay, you're being ridiculous.
I don't think I am. That is basically the equivalent of what demonstrates alligator camouflage behavior is.
I'm going to guess what it was.
Okay.
Did he do like a sniper thing and use pieces of his surrounding to blend into his surrounding and
kind of close, but also not close at all? So,
it's kind of like you sounded like Summer on the show.
Yeah. So I was intrigued. And so I was like really paying attention to the questions and answers. And one other thing about this kid, and listen, if you're a devout listener, love you, you're a fucking idiot. So this was also a theme on this show is, again, there's yes or no questions that they're being asked. Simple yes or no questions about the activity or accomplishment or skill of this kid. They were so bad at answering the yes or no questions.
I know.
They would be like, no. And then someone would be like, our judges are saying yes. And this kid in specific, like every single one he got wrong about himself.
Because he showed up and they're like, what's your talent? And he was like, what talent? And they're like, fuck.
Demonstrates alligator camouflage behavior. So obviously they didn't get this.
Shocking.
I think they got demonstrates.
They got the word demonstrates?
So that one of the charade brigades was like protesters with signs.
Oh, okay.
And somebody's like a demonstration, and they gave them.
They're just like, it's close enough. Put it on the board.
And maybe they got alligator in the last round, but so the final guesses were like demonstrates alligator. Like they didn't, they obviously for some reason they didn't realize that obviously the logical place to go from there is camouflage behavior.
Yeah.
So then he has to now demonstrate what demonstrates alligator camouflage behavior is. And so they bring out an alligator.
A real live one in a little pen with his beak. The alligator beak.
Yes, the alligator beak.
That he uses to open nuts.
Is taped shut.
Sure.
And this kid like sits up on the alligator's back, basically.
Okay.
And then what he does is he takes his 2 fingers, his index and middle finger.
I don't like where this is going.
Like a peace sign.
I don't like where this is going.
And he reaches out towards the alligator snout, basically.
Okay. Beak.
And he pulls his fingers back like by the alligator's eyeballs
Uh-huh.
so that the alligator closes his eyes.
Okay.
And then he goes, so when he's in the swamp and he closes his eyes when he's floating, it looks like a log. And that was it. That was demonstrates alligator camouflage.
His thing was close alligator eyes while sitting on back.
Because look, the alligator, it looks kind of like a log.
Also,
with
if
its
he's
eyes
dragging
closed.
from the beak to the eyes, are his eyelids on the bottom?
No, he's just like rubbing it across like the top eyelids, basically.
Okay.
So because their eyes are on the sides of their head, so they kind of like and then they close, and he's like, oh look, see with the eyes closed.
Or like
It
almost poke
looks-
alligator in eyes is better.
Yeah, it looks like a log when it's trying to hide by closing its eyes.
So do you think this kid
That was
like
it.
works, or like maybe his parents work at
Some sort of alligator farm or something for sure? Because so they did figure out alligators, because I remember at one point they said, do you wrestle alligators?
close?
And he wanted to say yes. Or he also did a thing where he wouldn't verbally answer a lot, and someone would
just
be
look
like,
to the
you have to
judges.
say, like, or he would just like shake his head, and she'd be like, no, say no. And he I think he was like about to say yes, and then she was like, the judges are saying no. And he like got pissed. He like looked at Summer Sanders like, bitch, I do fucking wrestle alligators.
Wow.
So I don't know. He's obviously around alligators somehow.
Also, you don't wrestle alligators when they're brought out to you in a box
With their beak taped
for
shut.
you to just sit on and caress their eyes.
Yeah, so those were some of the kinds of just literally impossible to figure it out answers that were on the show. And because, again, this kid really did nothing. His skill was nothing. His skill was he read a thing about how when alligators have their eyes closed, they look like logs to other animals or something like that.
What would be your skill if you were on Figure It Out as a child?
If I was on Figured Out as a child,
Yeah. Get tricked by your parents about trips to Disneyland?
yeah, my skill would be like read a book. Because I can't do that now, and so it was a big accomplishment
Just
when I could.
3 words:
As a
read a
kid,
book,
read a
and it
book.
would an A would already
An A
show
would
up,
already
so it would
be
just
up
say
there.
blank A blank.
Yeah, exactly. And is this something you do with your hands?
And Amanda Bynes says,
Kinda.
what was her go-to? Her first question was always like, "Is it a talent or something?"
I don't remember. And like some of them would literally be like, "All right, can I borrow $10?" That would be like the question. There's wasting time out here. This is a serious game show with serious repercussions.
Yeah.
This kid doesn't deserve to go to Jamaica Kids Camp.
Or Houston,
Or no, it was in
Florida,
Alabama.
the camp,
Space camp was in Alabama.
and you had to be 14
I don't know.
for sex.
Oh God, that was Georgia. Get it right.
Oh.
It's 12 in Alabama.
Okay. So,
So yeah, we had kids that were really bad at answering questions. I wanted to see so this ran for more than 200 episodes. Originally it was 4 seasons within like a year and a half, basically.
wow.
But the 3rd season they did kind of what they did with Double Dare, and they made it family style. So it was like a parent and kid. And then the 4th season was called Figure It Out Wild Style.
Uh-oh.
And-
And Nick Cannon was on it.
Yeah, exactly. And you had to do like rap battles and things like that. And every contestant had something to do with animals.
Okay.
It was some sort of like animal trainer.
Did they have
or
Alligator Kid
breeder
back on?
Yeah, he came back for an encore performance, and he was just as bad at answering the yes or no questions. And so it came back in 2012, hosted by a guy named Jeff Sutphen.
I mean, if you're in show business, change
Jeff
that last name.
Sutphen. Who had previously hosted a game show on Nickelodeon called Brain Surge
And we'll be doing that soon.
in the 2000s. And so, I mean, I didn't particularly care about this version because I was an adult human at this point.
Sure.
And so I didn't watch a lot of Nickelodeon. I didn't know any of these celebrity panelists. It's probably the way adults felt about Figure It Out in 1997. And there were a couple, like the second and third round were reduced to 45 seconds, I think, in that one.
That's like no time.
It's really not. I mean, the minute was really not enough time, if I'm being honest. And it lasted for 2 seasons, I think. And now he's got like a talk show online or something like that. He's had our good friend Mark Summers on his show.
Oh, hey, shout out to Mark. I still will fight you.
He said he had Kirk Fogg on his show. He's got all the connections that we need for this show, basically. He had Phil, I can't remember, the guy who hosted Nick Arcade.
Okay.
He's had all these guys on his show. But it lasted a couple seasons in reboot form with some changes, some modernizations, and keep all the ADHD kids.
Is Amanda Bynes still on it? But like doing cocaine.
Yeah,
off of her
exactly.
podium?
And so I thought, wow, this was on for a while. A lot of these shows, especially kids shows, it's kids that in some way get into the media, because they were on a TV show, a game show, whatever it is. I wonder if there were famous people on this show, or because especially it's a kid with a unique talent or ability, we're told. So how have they monetized that into success in their future life?
Did that kid turn out to be Steve Irwin?
Yep, he's dead now.
Wrestled too many alligators.
Yeah, and he died to a stingray.
That was his new thing. He wanted to go back on and be like, and close the eyes of stingrays. And the stingray was like,
Did not work out well for him.
My eyes are on the bottom.
Right after Steve Irwin died, Norm Macdonald was on the Daily Show. And I remember everybody acted real upset when Steve Irwin died. Like they gave a fuck. Like it was the cool thing to be upset about Steve Irwin dying for whatever reason. And I'm sure he was a nice guy or whatever, but
he seemed like a great guy. He had a daughter, and a wife, and family.
Norm was on the Jon Stewart show like 2 weeks after it happened or something like that, and he was like, "Oh, I wanted to talk about that alligator hunter," and Jon Stewart was kind of like, "Oh no, this is not gonna go well." And he was like, "Yeah, it's people are saying it's a tragedy. He died, and he was only 42 years old." And 42 is a ripe old age for an alligator hunter, if you ask me. And he's like, how pissed do you think the alligators are when they're like, oh, yeah, that alligator hunter is dead? And, oh, who got him? Was it Frank? No, it was some fruity fish.
Oh, man.
I sent you, I don't know if you watched this, there was a match game reboot in the mid 2000s that was piloted by Robert Smigel.
Ooh.
And Norm was one of the regular panelists planned for it. And after his death a few weeks back, Robert Smigel posted a couple of the episodes that were shot for it that never aired or anything because it was never picked up.
Nice.
So it was pretty entertaining. It was a nice crossover of my love for Norm Macdonald and my love for Match Game.
Yeah.
Which is one of my favorite shows that we've ever talked about on here. So I looked into who was famous from this show.
Got it. Okay, good.
There was a child, a 6-year-old, who played the accordion and sang at the same time. That was his thing.
Reggie Watts.
His name was Marcus Hayes. Ring a bell?
No.
Yeah, me neither. But he's a country singer, I guess.
Oh, okay.
And he's been nominated for multiple Grammy Awards.
Does he go by Marcus Hayes?
I think he goes by Marcus Hayes. And he's been nominated for, I think, 5 Grammys or something like that.
Is it like Hayes, like Hayes?
Hayes. Yeah, he's real chill. And so he's a person, apparently, that was on this show. No, not Hayes, like Haze. Good God. Hayes.
Hayze. Got it.
You're really bad at this. So he was on it. Play accordion and sing. I
that
guess
does not look like.
I don't think that's the guy.
He's a columnist for the Philadelphia Inquirer.
Oh, well, I totally got this wrong.
Yeah.
The other notable contestant, I guess, that was on it was Sam Roberts.
Okay.
Who is on the Jim Norton and Sam Roberts show on Sirius XM.
Oh, okay.
So he was on like Opie and Anthony, is where he got his start, and so now he's got a radio show. And then I think the most notable person, at least the only person that I really knew about, was a winner of the prize for somebody getting slimed, and that was Marcus Stroman, who is a pitcher for the New York Mets.
Wow.
Previously pitcher for the Toronto Blue Jays and World Baseball Classic most valuable player playing for Team USA.
Holy crap.
So he won a prize for being in the audience and somebody getting slimed. I also like, so in addition to that audience interaction, what I also liked, and this was kind of evoked back to Let's Make a Deal, where in the end credits, he would always make deals with random audience members.
Yeah.
Summer Sanders would go into the audience and have kids demonstrate some sort of talent.
Yeah.
In
like
the audience.
doing the splits.
Yeah. It wasn't very good talent.
No.
It was also like, I can flip my lip down and keep it there.
Yeah.
Without touching it.
You
I
cannot.
No, not a talent that I have.
No.
But I saw a kid with that talent.
Okay.
So that was an interesting, bit of crowd interaction.
It's a fun little way to end the
threw
show.
in there, yeah. And yeah, that's Figure It Out. What do you think about Figure It Out? How would you make Figure It Out better? What would you do?
First of all, I'd like to comment that I remember slime being much greener, and it seemed more of a like egg yellow with a light green when it was dumping down on top of Lori Beth's very gray hair. And so that was weird to me. Make it better. I would replace the slime with hydrochloric acid.
Wow.
Let's kill these kids. Let's end this show. Let's stop making bad shows. And I would also cancel the show.
Ooh.
And I would just show episodes of The Adventures of Pete and Pete.
Okay. Which you can't really watch because of music rights. You can't find it anywhere. The Adventures of Pete and Pete.
What band was there?
I don't know. I think they just had like a decent amount of music like in the background. Kind of the like I know Wonder Years had that problem for a while, where they couldn't get like music clearance to get it out there. And I think just Wonder Years has a greater potential for earnings than
Pete
and Pete.
So it's like how
some of them were like re-edited to change the music and stuff like that.
So it's like how when John and I watched Dawson's Creek, the title song is not the song.
I think they've gotten it back.
I don't want to wait. It's not that.
I think they've recently gotten it back.
They did?
I think. I could
of
be
course,
wrong.
when I watched it, it was not on.
And isn't the first episode Pacey fucks a teacher or something
He's
like
trying
that?
to fuck his teacher.
Okay.
And the teacher, kind of into it.
I'm kind of into it.
She's not saying no, stop. She's
kind
saying,
of into it.
You kids, I want it.
Whoa. Oh, one thing I forgot from the new updated version, one of the changes that I thought was fun was the word of honor, in which there is one word of their answer that if that word gets figured out, the contestant gets slimed.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. Do you have any other make it betters other than murdering people?
And
just
replacing the show with Pete and Pete.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Can't get any better than if you do either of those things.
Correct.
Kill some people and watch Pete and Pete.
Yes.
What do you think of this show in general?
I didn't think it was very good. I'm sure I liked it as a child, but it was a rough watch to see people on camera that have no discernible personality at all.
The contestants, you mean? The
Correct.
Kids.
And Amanda Bynes doing her little joke questions would have probably pissed me off if I was on the panel.
We're trying to get this, Amanda. You are not contributing.
Correct.
Yeah, it was definitely something that I remember liking the show as a kid. I remember watching it after school or whatever. I had a big mommy fetish for Summer Sanders, as we established. And
I had a grandmommy fetish for Lori Beth.
And as an adult, yeah, it's not very good.
It's not.
Slime was a big aspect of it. I guess I'm just not as interested in watching people get slimed now.
All I could think when any of the contestants got slimed was, it has got to suck to play the rest of the show covered in this nasty slime under hot lights. That's what my adult brain went to.
That's fair. Did I tell you that not that long ago, my wife was like cleaning out a bunch of my old shit and she found my official certificate for being slimed?
Oh my God. Did you frame it?
I think she threw it away.
What?
I don't know. I asked her like after, because she was cleaning. She was doing a big, huge house clean.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, hey, I found this bunch of stuff of yours. Let me know. Put it into piles of like keep and junk or whatever. Or take stuff if you want to keep it. Otherwise, I'm going to throw it away. And then she was like, oh my God, look at this. I found your slime certificate, whatever. I was like, oh, that's crazy. And so I thought that meant she knew don't throw that away.
Right. Because you're both excited about finding
Right,
it.
exactly. And then I think she threw it away.
But did you put it in the pile that she asked you to put it in?
Don't ask me that because I don't know. Probably not.
I mean, it was a pretty easy ask from her. And I bet she gave you at
Quit
least 2 days.
defending her.
At least
Stop
2
defending
days.
her.
Put it in the pile.
That was something that I couldn't figure it out. God, the segues today have just been
Pretty good.
on point.
Pretty good.
All right, so this has been Come On Down the Game Show podcast.
Don't go to our socials.
It's
Go
bad.
outside and read a tree.
Listen, I'm blowing the whistle on Come On Down. It's bad for you.
What? No.
What?
It's good.
Oh.
Keep listening.
Okay. I'm blowing the whistle. It's great. You'll be healthier. You'll be smarter. Your kids won't bully each other in school.
Mm-hmm.
Your kids won't think that they have unrealistic expectations to live up to.
That's right.
Your kids, I mean, because to be fair, if this is what they think like success in the future is like, they're like, oh, I could definitely do that.
Yeah, no, it's wrong.
There's no
but it
doubt
gives
about that.
exactly
I can do that.
it boosts their self-esteem to be
Right.
like, this is what some adults choose to
I'm
use
funnier
their
than
time
that.
with. These grown men use antiquated stereotypes for their jokes.
Yeah. I think they're still solid.
Relevant.
All right. We will see you guys next week where we talk about another game show and a bunch of other random stuff.
That was so good. I think you should drop your mic. That was such a good ending. You should drop your mic.
It's heavy.